My name is Bill Hinckley, and I'm a math teacher.
Well, my name is Heather Webster, and I'm an English teacher. This is my 18th year here at Madomic Valley. Taught my whole life here in Maine.
25 maybe? 25 years?
Two experienced teachers.
I use the word durable a lot. I want the learning to be durable.
It's all about finding what works for the students in front of you. You have to meet them where they're at.
Teachers who have faced a common dilemma for years. Why is it such a challenge to get students to retain lessons?
You come in the next day and they have, no recollection of what you did. It's frustrating.
If you have a snow day or some other long weekend event, there could be as many as 6 or 7 days sometimes between meetings with students, and that makes retention really challenging.
As a teacher, you get kind of down on yourself. You're like, why are they not getting this? Why are they not remembering?
It's common to expect students to remember skills. But is this a realistic expectation? And how can the strategy of spacing give even experienced teachers a fresh outlook on learning?
So the idea of spacing or spaced practice is coming back to information that was learned previously in order to refresh it. So what tends to happen as soon as information is learned, if you imagine that you have it at 100%, so over here is your scale of accuracy, and you've learned it and it feels like you've learned it forever and you've mastered it. But very quickly, almost immediately, you're going to forget a lot of it. So now if I asked you maybe a few days later, you've now forgotten maybe 50% of it. And then it kind of plateaus. And so in order to stop this forgetting process, which happens to everything we learn, spacing enables additional opportunities to retrieve or remember that information so that the knowledge then gets boosted instead of just completely deteriorating. Because as soon as we learn anything, we immediately forget it, spacing helps to prevent that forgetting and reminds people of the information so it stays fresh.
Knowing this gave Bill and Heather a new perspective on their students.
I think my expectations were really high for what they should be able to retrieve or what they would remember. Thinking about it, just trying to get into the kid's perspective a little bit. How is their brain processing the information that I'm saying? They haven't done something to try to forget. It's just that they are not able to retrieve.
I find it to be a relief knowing that. They haven't got it solidified in their brains to really keep it, and we just have to keep hitting it time and time again.
Some spacing occurs naturally when teaching. There are fundamentals that students will encounter over and over because other concepts always build on them.
Like if you don't know how to count, you're certainly not going to be able to do addition, and so counting is going to come up over and over again.
But as material gets more complicated, teachers will need to identify concepts that need to be intentionally practiced periodically by students. Identifying these concepts and periodically getting students to practice them is the challenge of spacing.
In our first meeting, we talked a lot about what seems easy or natural to us. We need to remember that for our students, it's not the same as being, a lifetime student of math or a lifetime student of English.
Students are being taught skills the teachers have been practicing for years. It's important to realize how much all that repetition plays into retaining those skills. Repetition that the students haven't had yet.
So what I observed today was really interesting. The teacher was presenting some mathematical concepts, some algebraic formulae that the students had recently learned, but there was also some assumed knowledge of concepts that they should have known. Sometimes students would say, oh yes, I know that one, or they would call it out. But I'm also curious whether there were some students who maybe couldn't remember what that process was.
What I really need to do is I need to identify the old material and give the kids a chance to really retrieve that. Then, once we feel comfortable with that retrieval process, now we're ready to start talking about the new material, how it relates to the old material.
So Bill started to review skills at the start of each class so that students could re-remember old material before jumping into new material.
Have a separate couple of minutes at the beginning of class for the students to all retrieve individually the information from last week, month, year that is necessary for this class. And then they would have that information fresh in their minds and be able to approach the new information without being distracted by having to retrieve the old information at the same time.
Homework assignments are another good place to space. For example, incorporate a key concept in an assignment a month or so after the students first learn it.
Another way to do it, rather than with homework, is to give frequent quizzes on previously learned information, doing a quick feedback, and then that information is constantly refreshed.
Get the retrieval done, and now we go on to the new stuff. Before, I had those two things just mixed together, and now I've separated them. I think I probably wasn't giving it enough time.
Spacing directly addresses the problem of cramming. Cramming can help a student pass the test because they can take their test here, before the knowledge decays. Spacing strategies will keep students from allowing all their knowledge to fall back to the baseline. The research shows students will retain more when they revisit something 3 times than if they learn it once for triple the time. Giving students the opportunity to study and connect concepts over time gave them the robust learning Bill and Heather wanted.
It really is about what do we want these students to walk out of here with. It doesn't become automatic in 1 year of high school, and it probably doesn't become automatic in 4 years of high school. But we're all like that. I don't remember everything that I learned in school. I would need a reminder.